Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I am recording with my laptop as a tripod kind of thing, so I apologize if my face is not in the camera. I'm kind of keeping my face down to kind of get that angle. Anyway, so just make a little life update. So it's a very long story, but the place that I'm doing an internship at decided to make my internship shorter than what was first decided, so that will be a interesting update to come. I'm not going to go into details at the moment, but there's just been a lot of things, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's personal, but because of that, though, I was able to attend a Christian camp retreat this past weekend, and it was really cool. It was in Oklahoma. There's a little, I think it's called Keller Retreat. It's like a camping ground, and anyway, they are I believe they're a Baptist associated camp, but I'm not 100% sure. But the group was ran by Wilderness Adventures Ministries and Summit Outdoor Leadership, which is, from what I've experienced so far, they're really cool. So Wilderness Adventure Ministries, their whole goal is to bring outdoor recreation to disabled individuals who might not have the abilities and or the difficulties trying to access outdoor recreation. So, like if you're in a wheelchair, or you have visual impairment, or you any kind of disability or challenge, they want to help you enjoy outdoor recreation with sharing the gospel along with that as well. So I got to go on that, and it was awesome. That's going to be the highlight of my internship, honestly. It's we drove to another state, to Oklahoma. I went with a big group, and I met lots of people. And we stayed in this cabin. It was actually not little. It was huge, big cabin. And it was great, man. Like, if you ever get a chance to go with Wilderness Adventure Ministries or even Summit Outdoor Leadership, you should definitely go. They are fairly new groups, both these organizations. Excuse me. And Summit Outdoor was there because they want to increase their opportunities for disabled individuals, because they haven't really worked with a lot of that, so they kind of wanted to come and kind of see what was going on, how to make it work. And it was awesome. So if you're in the Oklahoma area, or you plan to be, definitely check them out. Check out Wilderness Adventure Ministries as well. They're great. They literally took a bunch of people. We went ziplining, we went hiking. The hike was interesting because I was with the dog, so I was a little bit faster than some people. But it was challenging because, there's logs, there's, hole over there, there's a hill. It's in the mountains, so that was really cool. Never been to the mountains. So once I found out we were in the mountain, I was like, oh my gosh, we're on a mountain. I called my family. I was like, guys, we're on a mountain. But it was interesting because people would be challenged, because some people didn't have the greatest balance, or they didn't have the greatest, ability to walk straight or even upright sometimes, so it was interesting. They would have golf carts. So if you got tired or you couldn't make it up a certain part, they would have golf carts to get you up there. And if you, for example, we went to this little prayer garden thing, which I'm going to attach a video of that later. You could literally stand at the bottom of the hill, and they did a video call to the person at the bottom, so that way they could kind of hear what was going on, because they weren't able to climb the hill. This was their second event with Wilderness Adventure Ministries, and so there were some things that could have been, I don't want to say done better. They could have, they will need improvement. Nothing major, nothing bad. It's just some things that I was like, hey, this could be cool. We had to sign this waiver thing saying that we didn't hold them accountable if we were injured or killed, etc., etc. It's just a typical waiver, and it wasn't accessible, and so I want to bring that to their attention as well, because accessibility is a big key component to reaching out to disabled people. So if things hadn't worked out the way they did, I wouldn't have been able to sign the waiver because it was not accessible. But they're working on it. They're still young. They're barely a year old, and Summit is, I think, just about 2 years old. But they're awesome. They go to different parts of the country. They go to Colorado, and I think they told me they want to go to Alaska sometime to work with that kind of area. It just kind of depends. They haven't really settled down on a place. They would like to have it in all 50 states eventually, like just kind of travel around, have something in each state. But the people there were awesome. They were really willing to learn, which I appreciated, because as a blind person, I was with other blind people, and people didn't always know what to do. And so instead of them being like, I'm just gonna take your arm, and they just said, hey, how can I help you? What can I do? Is there anything I can do to make this easier? They treated us like adults, which I appreciated, because we are adults, and I didn't feel like I was treated like a child, so that was really nice. Also, this guy was helping me shoot archery yesterday, and I was like, dude, you should be a guide for a hunter. And he was like, why? And I was like, well, dude, you can aim. You literally have the greatest description of how to aim verbally. He would be like, okay, go to your left, now up, down. He would help me verbally by aiming, and I was like, dude, you should do this for your occupation. So that was really cool. The networking was cool. Also, just the gathering by a campfire with people in nature, that's the one place to find God. We did a lot of things. We did ice cream in a bag. We did where you take various items and you put soup in there with it, and you wrap it up in foil, cook it over the coals. That was cool. I hope that in the future they will let the participants take a more active role in the fire starting and all that stuff, but depending on the disability, it is kind of a safety concern. I don't want to say that in the probably going to get eaten alive in the comments, but there are certain cognitive disabilities where people are like, oh yeah, I'm fine, I can do the fire, and they're like, oh cool, I'm just going to light the fire over, so I think it would be like a case-by-case type thing as far as certain activities. Some of the people didn't do the zip line. Some people didn't want to go fishing, so they got to go cruising on the lake. Some people didn't feel confident to go hiking, so they just went in the golf carts. There's different ways, and we're talking about different ways to make a fire, because some people aren't able to use a flint and steel or use a lighter because of their hands, just various things, or maybe they can't, they don't have any hands to hold the lighter, so that was cool to learn about that. And it was just a very unique experience. I've never had something quite like that before, so it was really cool. And just it was really cool. We were out in this little area, this little kind of like a meadow, but it was on a mountain, so it was like a mountain meadow, I guess. But we didn't climb the mountain. We climbed a hill to get to the top of this thing. But it was very, very peaceful, and there was all the birds and stuff. You could hear them, and we literally sung a song by the cross, and it was really cool, because you don't get that experience. And there were all different disabilities. There was some cognitive/intellectual disabilities. There was physical disabilities, sensory disabilities, just any and all kinds were together, and that was really cool because we learned from each other. It wasn't like, oh, you can't do that. It was more like, okay, let's figure out how to help you do this. I enjoyed it from an occupational therapy perspective as well, because it was very cool to kind of get to know everybody's strengths and weaknesses and how to adapt to those. And it was really nice that they were willing to try. I applaud the sponsors and leaders of that group, because I don't think they fully understood what they were getting into when it comes to disabilities and being around disabled people and how to be an ally and not just be like overly helpful or protective, And if they didn't know something, they'd be like, "Hey, what do I do?" Or "Hey, how do I do this?" Or "I don't want to be overly helpful, so what do I do?" And it was really, really nice of them. I appreciated that. And they asked us, what our highs and our lows would be for the trip, and I forget what my low. I think my low was that I wish we had more activities for the participants as far as like building the camp and cleaning up the camp, because that's essential skills. So like whenever we were all leaving, it was like, well, I'm gonna go mop the bathroom and I'm gonna go do like the leaders, and well, that's great that they're doing that. I wish that they would have allowed us to do that as well, which I know they couldn't. It was a time crunch as well, but I hope they would build that into it, because there's a lot of skills that, if you go to away from your family, or you're away from someone that your carers, I guess, if you have those, and it's your first couple times away and you don't know how to clean, and someone says, "Hey, let's work on cleaning the bathroom," like, you're going to be more willing to do it when you're not at home. No one's judging you for it. Like, it's all, I felt so at peace, because I was struggling to hike because I was tripping over little logs, and there was like, whenever we were ziplining, there was like these steps you had to climb, and I didn't have my cane because they told me to leave it on the ground because I couldn't take it with me, obviously. And so I was climbing up these stairs, and I was very hesitant, and they were like, "You're fine, you're fine." I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I can't feel." But I felt comfortable because there were others out there with maybe not exactly the same disability, but we all were similar in the fact that, none of us really knew what we were doing. Most of us couldn't see, so, we couldn't really tell where the edge was. So we were like slowly going towards the edge, but not fully going. But it was really cool, and they did a great job, and I really wish them luck in the future because they were awesome. Also, I thought it would be really cool if they would let us chop wood, which there again, you'd have to be a very, I think it would be a case-by-case type thing as well, because, there are certain people that I have met in my life who get angry very easily, and so, you don't want to be like, "Here, have this giant hatchet," and then, and then something happened and they get upset and just start throwing the hatchet at people, because that is happening. That, I mean, it didn't happen on this trip, but it can happen in the world, so I think that's a conversation that needs to be brought up, as well as the safety aspect. But everything was safe here. There was danger, obviously, because you're doing outdoors. Anything could happen. There's fire, but the pit was like super cool. It was the coolest pit I've ever seen. It was brick all the way around, and inside was like the fire, but the fire was like, there was like this huge outer ring. So like, if you were gonna fall into the fire, you would have to fall like, forward and then slide, because it was pretty far in there. So that was really cool, and I just highly encourage you all, if you want to check out some outdoor wilderness things and you have a disability, or I don't know if they're open to like different different life experiences, like sometimes a lot of things will be open to veterans and things like that, but definitely check them out. They're cool. Both Wilderness Adventures and Summit Outdoor Leadership, sorry, called the wrong thing. Summit Outdoor Leadership are great. Like I said, it's my first experience with them ever. I've never heard of them until like literally last week. But the idea that they were willing to go into this random woods and take about 15 disabled people and be like, "Here, let's figure this out. Let's go," that's dedication right there, and that earns respect in my book. They didn't know what to do. They didn't really know what to expect. Some of them, they were never really been around disabled people, and they were like, kind of nervous, you know, but I'm just kind of learning and just kind of observing and seeing how you do things. And, you know, some of us needed more help than others, like as far as personal hygiene and things like that, but we made it work, you know, and it's just very rare that you come across a place that will allow you to be yourself without being judgmental. Like as an example of being overly helpful or being overly concerned was we went to this restaurant and the waitress was super nice, she was cool, but she gave us all spill-proof cups, the kind with the lids and straws, and like that bothers me as a blind person because I'm capable of drinking out of a regular cup, and the assumption that I'm not able to just really bothers me, especially when I'm with sighted people and they're like, here's your glass, here's your cup, and I'm like, oh, okay, why? Like, I would like a cup. And you know, most of you out there are probably gonna be like, what's the big deal? It's just a cup, but like, it's more than that. It's like a whole thing I'm not gonna get into, but it's a whole thing. It's sort of like if you were at a restaurant and let's say everyone you were eating with was like 100 pounds and you were like 300, and they came by and gave you your food and they were like, here's your cheeseburger, here's your hamburger, oh, here's your child-sized salad. It would be like that. It's like insulting without, like, it's not like they're consciously deciding it, even though they totally are, but you know, people think, oh, you're being too defensive about a cup. Like, no, it's because they're calling you out because you're blind and basically saying you're not equal to them, so you get a child-sized cup or you get a spill-proof cup, excuse me. So yeah, but as an example of that, we didn't complain because we all had cups and it was fine. Like, even the leaders had spill-proof cups. So I don't know, maybe it was like a restaurant thing. I don't know. I didn't ask, but I was like, it's not time to pick the battle yet. You gotta pick your battles. But it was pretty cool and I loved it. I would love to go back. And you know, it was so nice just to be with God. Although I did mention I wish they would have showed us how to get to the prayer garden before today, because I would have loved to go out there and just hang out with God. You're in the woods, but you're not like so far in the woods that you can't find your way out. Let me rephrase that. You could find your way out if you knew the woods, but you don't. So it's not the greatest idea to go out alone. But it was really nice and good mental break for me mentally. This internship has been very difficult, with a lot of things just trauma-wise, and I really needed that break. So if you get bored and want to check out Wilderness Adventure Ministries or Summit Outdoor Leadership, definitely do. Very cool people, very open, very willing to do whatever they can to assist. And you know, they do have sponsorships, so if you're unable to pay for trips, you know, you can look into that as well. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I'm just gonna make this video about you know, the outdoor leadership, and I will post the videos of me ziplining and the video of me making a video about the prayer garden because there are other people there, so I want to make sure it's okay. But the ziplining one there's not a lot of sound to it because it's just like me going on the zipline, but they did have a drone there, so that was like super cool. They were flying it around and Beacon was like, mosquito, giant bug, and I was like, no, it's not it's just calm down. But yeah, so it was good, and you know, God somehow brings these moments of peace within all this chaos, and mentally my brain was like, thanks God, I need this. I'm not going to go into too much details here, but there was just a lot of triggering events that happened here, and I honestly am just tired, and I'm praying that home will be okay mentally for me, because it's only been like a month since I've left, but month and a half, basically a month and a half, yeah, about 6 weeks. Hopefully things have calmed down, but you know, the good part is I did see a loose dog at the restaurant, and Beacon didn't care. The dog didn't come after her, so that was nice. And, she still gets upset whenever dogs come towards her, but she doesn't corral with him. She just kind of looks at him like, what are you going to do? Are you going to come at me? Should I run? Like, you know. But she's a lot more confident, a lot more relaxed. She's healthier. I'm healthier. I feel more ready to take on the environment of home, even if it's not as peaceful as I would like it to be at home. As far as the loose dogs and everything, I feel more ready to handle it than I did 6 weeks ago. So, thank you all for watching. I will post the zipline video and the other one as well. But I would highly recommend you all to go to Wilderness Adventure Ministries and also Summit Outdoor Leadership. They have Facebook and they might have YouTube. I'm not really sure, but they also have Facebook and the websites as well. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.